Hi everyone, in this lecture we will talk about types of variables based on their scope in Python. So there are three types of variables in Python known as global variables, local variables, and non-local variables. Now let's discuss each of them. So when you declare a variable outside a function, it is called a global variable. But when you declare a variable within a function, it is called a local variable. And if you declare a variable in a nested function, it is called a non-local variable. In this lecture, we will discuss global variables and local variables, and you will learn about non-local variables after learning nested functions. So let's understand global and local variables with the help of examples. I am on my VS Code, and here I have created a new Python file with the name g_l_ variable, and let's create here a simple variable, and I'll name it a is equals to hello world. It's a simple dimple variable. And now beneath this variable, let's create here a function, and I'll name it funct. And let's declare here an other variable. Let's call it something like b is equals to hi. Okay, so I have now two variables. A variable is called a global variables because we have declared this variable outside this function. But this b variable will be called as local variables because we have declared this b inside the local space. Let's print our a first. Just write here a, and then just type here func. Okay, and let's print this b as well. So print b. Let's save it. Let's run it, and we got our expected output. But what, instead of this a, if I write here b, what are you expecting? Just run it, and we got an error because this b is declared inside this function, not outside the function. So just write here a. But what if I write here a? What are you expecting? Will Python throw an error, or will it understand that this a is a global variable? So let's run it, and we got hello world and hello world. So first hello world is printed because of this line, and the second hello world is printed because of this print function inside this funct variable. So I hope that now you have understood the concept of local variables and global variables. Now, to understand it more deeply, let's debug this program and let me show you. So again, just write here b, and after calling this function, let's print another statement, and I'll say and let me put a breakpoint right here. Let's save it. Let's run it. Oops, put another breakpoint right here as well. Okay, and now let's debug it. Debug Python file, and here we go. As you can see right here, we got our a, which is our global variable, in this global section. So this a is present in our global namespace, while b is our local variable because we have declared it right here inside this function. It is present in our local namespace. So if I move to step number 2, then just keep in mind one very important point, and that is after executing the body of the function, the Python interpreter will clear the local variable namespace. So if I move to step number 2, here we go. Our local namespace has been cleared, and now inside this local namespace we have a global variable right here as well. So this proves that you can access a global variable in local namespaces, but you can't access a local namespace variable from global namespace. So I hope that you have understood this concept little bit more with the help of this debug option. And for example, what if I want to modify this global variable inside this function? So let me stop it. And for example, if I say a is equals to hi, okay, a is equals to hi, and let's type here a. Let's save it. Just run Python file, and now as you can see, we got hello world and we got hi. So this hello world is printed due to this line, and this hi is printed due to this line. And this output also proves that we have a very clear difference between global and local variables. Currently, Python is treating this a as a global variable because it is declared outside the function, but interpreter is treating this a as a local variable because it is declared inside this function. So if you want to change the value of a global variable inside a function, then you need to tell explicitly the Python interpreter that the variable which I will use now is a global variable. So for this purpose, you need to type here global and then the variable name, which is a in our case. And now let's run it, and we got hello world and hi again. But let me put this print statement after this function. Let's save it, let's run it, and now we got hi and hi. But if I remove this global and a, let's save it, let's run it, and we got our hi first and then hello world. So without global keyword, Python interpreter is not modifying the value of this variable a. So I hope that you have understood the concept of global variable and local variable, and I'll see you. Bye bye.